Alright, so we are doing a spectate game tonight. We are going to be watching Badabuilda. He is a silver 2. So they just barely got in the game. We got the 3-minute delay. Haven't even looked at the teams yet. He is playing Shaco this game, and he is going to be up against Amumu. Pretty good a matchup for Shaco since Amumu is really vulnerable in the jungle, especially early game. He did take Ignite, so he does want to be fighting as much as possible, 1v1ing, obviously in lanes as well. And the key to Shaco is really early game. You have to be able to get successful ganks off. Either keeping a Mumu down or snowballing one of your lanes, because you'll start to transition to a lot stronger split pusher. And you want to make sure that you and your lanes are ahead to get a good split push going. The rest of the team, we have Vayne and Blitzcrank bottom versus Leona and Ezreal. It's going to be a lot on making sure that Blitzcrank pulls them to a wall. He doesn't want to be pulling Leona, and Ezreal can kind of jump away, so I'm not a huge fan of the Blitzcrank as a last pick. Because he won't really provide much safety in that sense, but he can actually keep Ez off of Vayne. So if Leona full on engages the Vayne, they'll be okay. It's good to be playing Shaco against Leona because, as I said, she does have to go all the way in to fight. Top lane we have Jace versus Ryze. Jace has Ignite, so he should win the matchup. He can also poke really hard, and he's a pretty strong, really early game bully. Versus Ryze, whose early game is pretty weak until he starts getting a few items. But he does have the teleport, so he can afford to play safe and just teleport back to lane. Keep his items going, keep his snowball going. Jace should be pretty gankable as well. And then mid lane, we have Ziggs versus Fizz. I feel like Fizz will do a lot better if he roams more. And then Ziggs should probably just take advantage of the roam by continuing to farm. If he plays really safe, he should be okay against Fizz since he can knock himself away, since he has the free flash from his explosive. What is it called? Satchel charge. Satchel charge. There we go. How's it going, Dane? We are just about to get into this game. We are watching Badabuilda here. I need to fill my chat with useless things for just a moment. See how far down it actually goes. There we go. You can see how lazy I am in actually having multiple pages up, depending on whether I'm spectating or not. Yeah, Shaco is really, really good as long as you can get the lanes snowballing. It's really important that you pay attention to where wards get placed, since you can deceive past them, since you can gank from really unorthodox ways if you know where the wards actually are. As for summoners, everyone's running pretty standard summoners. With Ignite, you definitely want to be trying to fight Amumu more often. Exhaust is really good for fighting 2v2s. Or even 3v3s. Looks like everyone loaded pretty quick. Purple side. We'll leave it all up. Everyone's really... Oh no, I was still getting a delay. I'm like 40 seconds. Where is everybody? So biggest thing you have to be afraid of early game is an invade. Shaco's really vulnerable to getting invaded. Because if they pop his boxes, he isn't quite as effective. But considering you have the Blitzcrank now, and Leon is strong in an invade, but Blitzcrank is a lot more aggressive about it, I actually think you're better off.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Or I actually assume that they would not invade you. Something that people forget is that Shaco's actually really strong if they run into the boxes, and having a blitz can force them to fight around a box. So between the fear and the grab, it actually wouldn't be a bad idea to invade if your team actually wanted to together.
Minions have spawned.
Getting pulled into a Shaco fear is so very annoying. I do like the fact that Shaco does not need a leash. Probably my favorite part about him as an AD carry. Let's just see how the lanes are going. This is a silver 2 game. Oh, the blitz is already rocking it. It's not too bad. Their mid lane's already missing. Because their mid lane's missing, I'd be really careful about them trying to invade you here. Yeah, he's been missing for a long time. I'm not sure if he was low or what. Okay. Yeah, between Amumu and Ziggs, they definitely could have fought you. I would have been scared enough personally to drop your ward over this wall just to be on the safe side. Nice. I don't think you're gonna get him. You're too far up with Jace right there. That was good for you though. I'd immediately just start backing off and go to the next place. You can either get your golems. You can actually go try to fight Amumu. I wouldn't even take golems right now because you know Amumu had to go back. I would head straight into his jungle, take his wraith or his white, and then go for his wolves. I'm not coaching, I'm only doing a spectate game. So, I don't know if you've seen my YouTube channel yet. Nice, he actually got the stun off. I would have tried to tumble for the triple hit there. That's the channel if you're interested in checking it out. If you ever want me to spectate one of your games, just let me know. Rise is doing okay. You know Fizz is snowballing. I hope that your team is telling you that Ziggs doesn't have flash, because that means he's really vulnerable for a gank. Shaco's really strong at getting ganks off in the mid lane, since he can practically reach the champion from either brush. Does he get it? Close. At this point with... yeah, I would probably start going for an invade again. Your top lane isn't there. Your mid lane just got them forced back. So unless you're actually going to try to fight something bottom lane, which is very possible since they stayed, since they're low, I would try for a lane gank here, or immediately head into their jungle again. As I said, you really have to take advantage of the early game pressure and aggression that Shaco has. Your buffs are up in about a minute. And as soon as they're up, you definitely want to start getting pressure again. Fizz is doing so well right now that I would definitely give him this next blue buff. Because a snowballing Fizz can completely crush games. That was awesome. Such a good hook. Go in. You need to be heading in a little bit earlier. So that way you can immediately be on top of Jace as soon as that Rise snare lands. You don't want to sit around in brushes like that unless you have your sweeper and you know it's not warded. It's really important to, once you've committed to going into a lane, you should pretty much go into it for sure. Like, because you don't have a sweeper, because you don't know that this is warded or not, you're a lot better off just running straight into lane, deceiving as soon as you get close enough, and because Rise sees you coming up, he'll immediately try to snare him as well. And if the gank fails, then that's fine. You're still revealing yourself, you're still putting pressure onto him. I would pick up an early sweeper. On my next back, I would definitely get a sweeper so that you can afford to sweep a bush and then spend a little bit more time waiting for someone. But without the knowledge of where their ward is, I probably wouldn't waste too much time in brushes. How much gold do you have here? Enough for boots. Remember to let your box tank it, if at all possible. You can actually, if you've watched a lot of higher elo videos, you'll see that they swap dragon aggro, usually between the support and jungler, but any two champions can do it, where they'll kind of jump between being the closest champion so he turns back and forth. You can do that with your boxes and your red buff as well. Like, you can put your box on one side and keep dancing it back and forth. And that will save you a bunch of damage when you're doing your buffs. Instead of a Vamp Scepter, I definitely would have gotten boots here. You're all about mobility. You have to be in lanes or invading as much as possible. So your best choice would have been mobility boots. If you could only afford basic boots, I still would have gone for that. As I said, you still want to pick up your sweeper. Any ganking jungler, any jungler who wants to be in lanes wants a sweeper even earlier than otherwise, but I would still get sweepers regardless. Don't forget that things like that get revealed, so if they didn't reward this, they can see that you're there because you placed a box in it. Nice. That was a great ultimate. That's all you're gonna get out of this. I would just back out. I would ping your team back like 7 times. Whatever it takes to get them to back. Or Blitzcrank can be a man. Yeah, that was way aggressive there. She should have stunned him and kept running. But at least the two of you got back out. All in all, not too bad. Fizz is still snowballing really hard. You got a few assists out of it. Anything you can do to keep a Moo down. No, stop it. Why are you being annoying? Alright, so you just saw Leona place a ward here. It's actually really good that they're warding their lane and you know where it is, because that means they're going to feel even safer when you are able to gank them. Now's the perfect time. You know Vayne's strong enough to actually fight. I would come down this route, and I would probably sit up here until Blitz can get a pull or they push it out, and then I'd move down to here. Since Fizz is already snowballing, you know he's going to do absolutely fine mid lane. I'd probably stay out of middle. Ryze is a really strong snowballer, and Vayne is also a very good snowballer, so you're really good to start focusing these as much as possible. Nice. Alright, get your slow off. Uh-oh. Yeah, when you had the minions under turret, I would have deceived over if it was still up on cooldown. Yeah, you do have your deceive. We check it here now. Okay, let's see this. Got him sent in. Okay, it just came up. And Ezreal actually ended up doing that perfectly. So, you probably, not much you could do there. You're still okay though. The Ziggs ult was really strong, and it was what really costed that fight for you. Perfect time to invade. Except for you might die to it. Another thing, I would definitely not get your Vamp Scepter right now. Your jungle item itself will heal you a lot more in the long run. Well, in the early game, I should say. So getting boots and rushing that item is a lot more beneficial to you than just having a Vamp Scepter to help you clear the jungle. The problem with Vamp Scepter is it's not like you're an AD carry where you can just sit in lane, not take any aggression, and just heal up on it. um, the minions are always going to be attacking you and doing damage back. And the jungle item scales really well. And don't forget that buffs are best on people who are fed. You're doing okay with 2 assists, but Fizz is crushing his lane. If he has a blue buff, he'll be dominating it so much more. So I would do everything you can to give him that buff right now. When I'm playing my AD carry, and I know I'm behind, I'll usually continue to give my red buffs to the jungler. Even after they offer it to me, I'll tell them, no, you should take it. Just because the higher level you are, and the more gold that you have in your pocket, like, just the straight up the stronger you are, the better you're going to be doing with those buffs. It's not bad. Got a kill out of it. Ezreal ult. Super close. And he flashed. So you're doing an excellent job right now as a team. Their bottom lane's given up to the point where he's roaming to create pressure elsewhere, which is smart of him since they're losing lane a bit more. Actually, Ezreal's doing just fine. And with how low you are here, remember, if you're ever less than even 3/4 of hit points is risky. You definitely don't want to be helping. You don't want to be crossing the river. If you did anything there, it should have been to walk around, place a box to try to help deter them. Like, you could have placed a box all the way up here even, and that would have helped Ziggs get out, or Fizz get out, because he could run through that box. And I definitely would have saved your deceive to get away. You don't want to use your escape cooldown to get into a fight when you're that low. That's how I feel every game. I hate Fizz. If he starts snowballing, I think he's worse than just about any other snowballing champion because of his troll pull. I mean, there's tons of other champions who can do what he does, but not very many of them go invulnerable as well. At this point, you should be using your boxes as wards whenever possible. Ooh, that was close. The reason I say it was close, if you had saved your ultimate, you can dodge a Mumu ultimate with it, and you can also dodge Ziggs ultimate. If you had timed it slightly before or slightly after, you could have actually won that trade by just avoiding what he can do. Other things to note, you can avoid anything with it. Like, you literally disappear from the game. You can dodge Ignite ticks, you can dodge Karthus ultimate, so if you get really practiced at timing your ultimate, you can just straight up not have to deal with anything. Got Rise coming down. I haven't seen him use his teleport at all. But, okay, he just barely got his Rod of Ages. It's only been stacking for a minute. His tier is only at 200. So he's really behind on both of those for 19 minutes in. He needs to be spamming spells left and right. You know they don't have an Amumu ult, so this is definitely an engage that you want to fight. Don't forget you can ultimate to avoid damage. You also want to ultimate a lot sooner, just so that you get all of the extra damage from your clone. The sooner it dies, the less auto attack damage it's going to be doing. Ooh, good deceive. And now I want to play Shaco. That sounds like so much fun. So you got to be really careful about this next fight, since Amumu Ultimate is going to be up for it. I almost think you were better off, instead of taking mid turret, going for that dragon. Well, I guess if your team gets it now, it doesn't matter. That's good. I only say that because you know that Amumu has his ultimate for this next fight, so if there was another 5v5, you were in a lot worse position than you were previously. That last fight was really good though, because a lot of your team got a lot more assists. And even Rise is getting really strong now. It is smart of him to get his Archangels, since he doesn't have the mana at where it should be. Upgrading the Archangels now is going to stack it a lot faster for him. That dive. Nobody's even close to help him here. Oh. I think Fizz should have given Leona to Vayne. It's really important to let your kills snowball onto other people. I know that Fizz has gotten most of those on his own, but when you're so far ahead, it's really important to spread kills around. Vayne's gonna get caught here. I would keep pushing. You know that 3 of them are bottom. So I would go hit the white, and then I would keep pushing the lane. Your boxes, I would ward here, and I would place boxes, you know, around this area. This is a good spot up here. Like places where you want to run away from. Yeah, at this point with Shaco, you just want to be as annoying as you possibly can. If you see everyone, then you just shove the lane. That greed. There was no reason for it since Fizz was coming back. The only other thing that I would change this game is, as a jungler especially, you have to get your boots early. The earlier since you're moving around the map more than you're doing anything else, boots adds actually more damage to you over time than anything, just because getting to the next camp faster is a huge deal, getting to the next lane faster is a huge deal. They've actually done statistics in a lot of games, and League of Legends isn't any different about how much damage overall things like movement speed actually adds to your game. The last one that I actually read about was from World of Warcraft article about the highest damage increaser in the game are movement speed talents. This was back when talents were a bit different, but it's really important to take advantage of getting your movement. That's another reason why Static Shiv is so popular on Shaco, because he wants to be in lanes almost constantly. He wants to either be farming something or killing someone at all times. So anytime you can get some extra movement speed out of it from either mobility boots or, say, a Static Shiv. Is it crashing? I'm doing okay. I don't see any errors or anything either. So yeah, moral of the story is movement speed is king. You can't do very much in a siege. I would have pushed. Since they're all there, take their inhibitor. You have a Tiamat, so you can push exceptionally hard. You can't help in this fight very much. Well, I guess enough. That was still really good for you. But I still think you could have gotten the inhibitor out of it. Did it really crash? As I said, I have nothing even showing. No problems. Maybe Twitch is having problems with their website. Take a look real quick. They don't want to overstay here. Whatever. If you see anything, just let me know. Push this next wave out. Since the wave saw you anyway, you can clear it super quick. I would grab that before going to blue buff. Yeah, without any wards, without any pressure in the lane, it's really risky to go to blue. So I would have just taken the creep wave. You're also not running Sightstone, so it's even more important to, before you do risky invades, make sure you have traps, your boxes lined up. Well, you got a double kill. You were able to get 2 of them up after you. Make sure you let your team know that they both use their ultimate. So I'm not looking at your chat, so I can't see if you did that. But information like that is a huge, huge deal. Both of them using their ultimate on just you is really, really good for you guys. Oh. He should have kept autoing. I think he actually could have killed him before he died if he kept trying to fight him. Good job. Attack speed boots are good since it helps you push in things faster. But I still prefer either boots of speed or mobility boots, since you don't really want to be fighting quite as much on Shaco. Until you get a couple more items, you're really at to the point where people are going to be stronger than you, and your best bet is just to farm waves to shove as fast as you possibly can, and then when someone shows up, run away. Shaco's really, really good at just being able to deceive out of fights, run through boxes, and be a huge, huge annoyance. A lot like Nidalee is. Especially old Nidalee, I should say. Well, regardless of anything, he's 3 minutes behind. So, I do this so that they can look at it anytime they want to after the fact. But I'm not sure if he's hearing anything that I'm saying. That Fizz is way too strong right now. Good job. Yeah, just fight the turret since you have a clone. You have a little bit of time. You know that a Mumu ulted, so you should be able to straight fight them. Vayne is exceptionally strong against those types of champions. You have to play really carefully here since Ezreal is up. But as long as you take it instead of someone else, you should be okay. Yeah, he's probably like 3.5 minutes behind me, since the in-game delay is 3 minutes, and then Twitch delays it another anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds. Dead Vayne. Got it for an inhibitor though, so I would say that's worthwhile. Your best bet would probably be to go bottom lane. If your team 4-man's top and you're able to go bottom, you can take that inhibitor for free at any time. As soon as they go to defend the top lane, you're able to go in. And as I said, just lines of boxes and at key choke points, and you use those places to run away. You don't want to fight people, you just want to keep pressure. Everything at this point is just closing out the game. As long as your team waits for each other, you group up. I would go bottom. Hit the minions and just keep pushing in. The rest of your team's grouped up pretty well. They don't need to go middle, so it's pretty silly of them if they do. I'm actually not a big fan of a teleport on the team when you have a Shaco. Since Shaco is someone who wants to be splitting, it doesn't really take advantage. And people shouldn't be coming down to you. They should be using you to split the team up. Like, what's split Blitzcrank going to do? Need a box up here so you have a place to run away. Perfect. And then you can keep pushing the wave. Minions are your bread and butter. I haven't seen him use it either. Poor Vayne. And you're not very strong at backdooring turrets. The extra armor that they get is really strong. Oh wow, I can't believe you actually were able to kill it. That's impressive. So you place a box up here, and you keep taking the inhibitor. Your team has so much pressure, you don't want to relieve any pressure. The split push strategy is all based around your team working together to provide pressure at the same time. So if one side backs out, you both need to back out. If one side stays, you both need to be staying and doing pressure. Or else the team defending, all they have to do is converge onto one side and win the fight. If one of the sides backs out, then they don't get anything for the one side dying. You guys are far enough ahead right now, it's not quite as relevant, but especially in close games, it's important to take something when the enemy gives something up. That should be victory. Let me turn on my lights real quick. I'll be right back and I'll do my LeagueFit for it.
Spawning soon.
Alright, so that was a good game. You're actually the first person that I have spectated to win a game, so congratulations on that. You were... where are you? 2 kills is 6 points, 12 assists makes that total 18, minus 15, you're positive 3 for that game. So, 3 push-ups for me. You gotta do double the workout. I'll do 3 more just for you. So, what do you think your biggest problem? What did you learn from that game yourself before? I know you were listening to a lot of my comments and stuff, but what do you think the best way you could have improved was? Okay. And map awareness is a big thing. One of the reasons that I have a hard time jungling is because I don't know. Not that I don't know, it's really hard to keep track of everything all at once. When I'm in lane, even in a 2v2 lane, it's more difficult than a solo lane. But keeping track of where wards are, keeping track of where summoners are, and what summoner spells have been used, who's used what ultimates, even simple things like when has Leona last used her Zenith Blade can make or break a fight. So, as a jungler, you need to keep track of every single lane doing all of those things, especially... Well, there is no especially. It's really important for all of those things, where wards are, where the ultimates are. So, knowing where and who and when to gank what. Like, if a Mumu's ult's down, you're a lot better off trying to find a 2v2 and counter ganking. And that is another big thing. Your team was really, really far ahead, but there's no such thing as too far ahead. Because they're so far ahead, you're a lot better off invading a lot more. You place those defensive boxes so you can be safe. You can pick up a Sightstone. I get Sightstone on most of my junglers because having double Sightstone on your team, Vision wins games. Not getting caught out, not letting your team get caught out. You can ping where everyone is anytime you see them on the map. And if your team's not dying, you're a lot better off. If your team's not dying, that's 800 gold that I would spend all the time. Shaco's a little bit better off since he has the boxes to do that as well. But they only last, what, 45 seconds to a minute? So, I mean, you did really well, though. 12 assists and 2 kills. They only had 22 total. Oh, never mind, 48. That's because Fizz took the game into his own hands for sure. If you feel like you're getting behind, then you can start camping really ahead lanes like Fizz to try to get assists and start snowballing yourself. But if you're getting really ahead, then you can start trying to camp the bit weaker lanes. Um, in that game in particular, I definitely would have spent a little bit more time in lanes. I am a bit afraid of a Mumu in the jungle, which means that I would have tried to camp bottom as much as possible, get that early sweeper, try to sweep out a ward down bottom, and then just sit in that brush until Blitzcrank can land a pull. Or you can even do that top lane. Most people don't have the 3 brushes up near the top warded, so you can sit in one of those for a couple seconds and wait for a good opportunity to gank. As I said, if you're coming through river, you're a lot better off going straight for the champion, because odds are people have those brushes warded. So if you wait, then they're going to be able to back off in time. Whereas if you go straight in and you make sure you ping your ganks for your team. If you ping them, they know that you're coming. Knowing when to ping is really important too, because if you ping from too far away, they might not pay attention to where you are and engage too soon and die. And of course they'll blame you because you were on your way. Whereas if they had looked, you were still a little bit out. You might have been on your way, but not quite. But it's all about the synergy. And then as I said, when your team is applying a lot of pressure somewhere, you really need to be applying pressure somewhere else. So whether you're taking the jungle camps, whether you're killing minion waves, it's really, really important that you're in lanes at some point. Or that you're actually taking things of the enemy teams. And Shaco's a pick where he can get out of some of the stickiest situations. If you dodge things, if you're able to dodge things with your ultimate, you can dodge in a Mumu bandage toss if you time it right with your ultimate. And if he can't engage on you like that, you can immediately just deceive away, run through boxes, and he'll never catch you. Another big reason I like the mobility boost instead of Berserker's Greaves is because the instant you get out of combat, you're gone. Nobody can catch you. So between mobility boost and Shiv, that's where you get all the movement speed from. So, food for thought. I will get this highlighted later this evening, and I will post it up onto my YouTube channel. I'll share it with you as soon as I get that done. I appreciate you letting me spectate one of your games. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I guess subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video if you thought I gave some good tips, etc. I really appreciate everyone following my YouTube channel. You can watch me spectate games live, and you can watch me play my own games and give my own tips and tricks when I'm playing at my Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/xbelgarian. You can see a link down below.